Floods are one of the most common hazards, and if you live in a flood zone, it can be downright dangerous. Flood zones can change over time. That's why FEMA updates floodplain maps every 5 years.
In total, I would say that there were probably between 2,000 and 4,000 people added to the floodplain as a result of map mod.
And that's just in Oklahoma. Andrew Zaffreys lives in Owasso in a home that backs up to a stream. He recently found out his property was added to FEMA's flood zone list.
My mortgage company notified me that now that everything has changed, FEMA has now reclassified this as a flood zone, and I was going to have to get flood insurance. And when I asked them what ballpark figure, what would that be, they tell me about $1,200 a year. I was like, oh, you know, we all have budgets that we got to live on.
But to protest and get off the list could cost a lot more. Hiring a survey company for the process of map revision can start at $500 and in some cases get as high as $12,000. Zaffrey says his property was placed on the list before and was removed, so he doesn't understand why it's been put on FEMA's list again.
I don't know what keeps changing. We haven't done anything. Nature hasn't changed. The landscape hasn't changed. No one's brought any fill dirt or anything like that here. I want to know why it keeps changing. Why does it keep getting considered to be a flood zone when originally it was not? Nobody can answer that question for me.
Not even a floodplain specialist can answer that question. Bill Smith has been in the industry for 35 years. He's also a former chair of the Oklahoma Floodplain Managers Association.
Usually when they go off, if they're taken off, when the map is updated, that removal carries with it. But that's new. I haven't heard that one.
Smith is in the business of appealing FEMA's floodplain maps. He says without someone actually going to a property, it can be difficult to determine if it's in a flood zone.
As a hydrologist, I've had real problems with some of the new maps because they're using old data and old topography and just plotting those elevations on the new maps.
FEMA is making a decision off of a map that's it's an old map, probably before the housing addition was built. Obviously, to build a housing addition, they would have had to elevate everything so it would not be in the floodplain. And obviously, it's been elevated. It's not on the same level as that stream.
It's estimated that there are hundreds of properties across the state that were mistakenly listed within the floodplain on the updated FEMA floodplain map. And homeowners like Andrew Zaffreys do not feel it's the homeowner's responsibility to pay for FEMA's mistake.
I would like someone to actually come out here from FEMA, not go off of a map that's old, actually come on out here and do a real, actual survey and then make a decision. And then I'll live with that. I have no problem with that. But just to sit up in Washington and go off a map, to me, you know, that's not right.
In Owasso, I'm Angela Rosecrans, the Oklahoma News Report.